How's it going, YouTube? Welcome to the Cosmic Ray channel. I'm your host, Cosmic Ray, and today we're talking about story time with Cosmic Ray. And I have a couple a couple stories to tell you guys about. One of them is a little ghost story, actually pun intended, and another one has to do a little bit about with what I talked about in one of my other story times, which is regards to sleep paralysis and also night terrors. And in that, I didn't really go in specifics regards to an actual dream itself. But today I was guided to actually share you one of the scary ones that I've had, or at least it was, kind of frightful for me. And I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. So let me just go on and tell you about the first story. So the first story, it takes place, I was probably around 6 or 7, and I think my mom was home at the time. I was living in like a condominium, and I was playing toys by myself in a room that my brother and I shared. No one was in the room. My mom, I believe, was like in the cooking or doing something like cleaning. At the time, I felt like she wasn't even there. I felt like no one was in the house except for me, and but I know she was there. So I know there's literally one person that was there at least, but no one else was in the house. That I do know for sure. So I wanted to see if I can kind of, you know, not reenact it, but just kind of just give you a perspective of like how this was done. So I was playing toys, like kind of like in a closet area. These were just all a bunch of my toys, and my brother had some of his toys. We were just kind of just playing together, or one of these toys that we used to like play together in a sense. And I was just playing with it because he was out, and it was weird because when I'm say if I was looking at you as if like I'm in the closet kind of thing, like just playing with my toys, and there's like this entertainment system like on the side of me, or like a little TV, if you will, and the TV kind of like blocks the perspective of say if I was looking towards like the door itself, and the door would be like say like straight that way, just parallel to my shoulder, if you will, and but the entertainment system was blocking, so I had to kind of like do this if I was gonna look at the door. I was going like this, I was just playing, and then if I heard something, I have to go like this and look. So I was just playing with my toys, and I heard like a noise, and I heard like a little like see if I can do the noise like a little like like something scatter across the floor, and something slightly drug, if you will, being drugged, but also just like a little pitter patter. Like, and we didn't have any animals or any pets, so it wasn't like there was a dog in the house or anything like that. There was like a little like a little pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, and this wasn't something where your mom or dad can make those kind of noise, or like an adult or someone big to make these noise. This is like a little pitter patter, as if there's like a little baby in the room or something, just like a little like. And I heard this noise, and didn't know what it was. And I was playing, just playing toys, so no big deal. So I was just kind of like, what? And I kind of like put my back like this a little bit and kind of looked to the side, and then I saw something very very small, like run across the room. And it was weird because when I heard that pitter patter, it felt like it already went by, like I just missed it or something. But then when I did that whole like this and look, it like ran again, but it had been the same direction, because when I heard the noise, it was like coming from this way, and then it kind of went behind me kind of thing. So that's how I knew, or at least I thought whatever it was already went by, and I missed out on the opportunity to see what it was. But when I went like this and looked, whatever it was there again, and just and like ran past like the doorway. Now to give you an idea of what this looked like, or the size of this thing, I know I said in the beginning it's like a little ghost story. I don't even know what to call it. I know this wasn't one of those my imagination running wild kind of thing. I wasn't asleep or anything like that. I was just playing toys. I didn't see any like scary movies or anything that was like close, like the whole figment of my imagination. Um, like I know what I saw. And we used to live near a creek. Now I don't know if this is makes a big deal or not. I don't know anything about this area, but I know it's pretty creepy. I know at certain times, like, a get a bird would be flying around, and it's a helicopters, in case you don't know, flying around, and and they always have the lights shining in this creek area. It's like a big deal. Like a lot of people probably mess around over there and whatnot. But so I don't know if this place has like a ghost thing, but what I saw wasn't necessarily like a, I don't know, like an apparition like normally you would think as like a ghostly, figure. The easiest way I can explain it to you of what I saw, if you happen to see this movie back in the day, there's a movie called Phantasm, Phantasm, and this, a little quick thing about the movie. There's a guy, they call him the Tall Man, Angus Grimm, and very creepy type of thing where like this, I don't know, uh, a mortuary, like funeral parlor business, whatever you want to call it, was taken over by this thing, whatever you want to call this guy, the Tall Man, and then these little like creatures are from like another dimension or something. And in a sense, he, I think, controls these little whatever goblin looking, I don't even know what these things are, like little goblin creatures. From my understanding, he took like dead people, like crushed them down to size, like like so tall into like maybe like a good 2 feet ish, maybe a little bit bigger, 3 feet, type of like monster slash troll. I mean, I don't even know what these things were, to be honest. And to give you an idea just from that, if you've seen Star Wars, or better yet, if you have seen Spaceballs, and do you remember Yogurt the Wise and his little minions with like the red hooded things? They're like me 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 me, like those little things I kept. Anyways, so if you've seen that, that's pretty much spot on, like what it was in a sense of the size. So obviously you're probably like, oh, you're probably just watching Spaceballs. No, nothing like that. But just to give you an idea what that it was, and I said the whole phantasm thing versus the versus Spaceballs because, oh man, okay, kind of freaking out with the candle. I wasn't trying to do any candle love tonight. I was guided to that I wasn't going to do that. So that's why I didn't mention anything about candle love or anything like that. I wasn't trying to do that, but I don't know if spirit is with me right now. Um, or it could just be a candle being a candle. Let's see. But I wasn't guided for it to do that right now. I was guided to do my story. So let me see if I can just do with my story. So, anyways, I was freaking out. So it just reminded me more of the Phantasm thing than it was Spaceballs. Because if it was something Spaceballs, it'd be like, oh, take me to yogurt. I would had more fun with it, and this wouldn't be much of a story. This was more along the lines of I felt there was something wrong, something bad, and something just like ran across the floor. Now it wasn't wearing the exact same thing that was in Phantasm and or with Spaceballs, but yeah, how like the clothing kind of drug on the ground kind of thing with them. So what I saw was my brother had a robe, back in the day, and it reminded me of like those like what a boxer would wear. It wasn't made of like silk, just like the normal like towel material, whatever, and it looked like it reminded me of a boxer. It had like it was black and it got like a little white like around like the front part of the trim. I don't know what you want to call it, but the trim looked down. It just reminded me of like a boxer type of outfit, like we used to come into the ring with. This just wasn't like silk or anything. Anyways, so it was something that was wearing like his robe, but that size that just ran across like just ran across. So I was like, what the? But I saw the robe being drug on the floor. Now, I'm like, oh, is my brother home? Is he just messing with me? Like, well, what's going on? Mind you, at the time, my brother was probably like, I don't know, 18 or 17 or something like that, and I was really young. So, anyways, so, seeing this, I'd been like, well, he had been crawling on the floor, it was taller guy than, I am at a very young age here. I don't know, like I said, at least 6, 7. I don't really know exactly how old I was, but I was young to be playing with toys. Okay, and in this area that I was at, I was around that kind of age range where I was living. So somewhere around there. Anyways, so I see this thing and running across. So I'm like, what? And I was more of logical as a kid. So even if I saw something that was, even if people thought it was a ghost, I still would look just so that I know that like those weren't real. Like that was make believe. No, every time people tell that to you. So I was like, well, I know this has to be fake. So who's messing with me? Did this at a young age. Slightly brave, maybe slightly dumb, whatever. So I stopped playing with my toys. I got up. I had to go investigate. So, it wasn't like, with bravado, like, oh, check me out. I was, it's kind of a little slightly scared, but I had to go check. That was the one thing I did have to go do. So I stuck my head out, just like a little kid, just kind of peeking, like, as if someone's gonna like chop my head off right when I get, right when I peek out the door. So I just like slowly kind of look one way, and I look to the other, and I don't see it. It's gone. So, vanished. But what I did see was my brother's robe laying on the ground, further away from the door, and it was on the ground, and yeah, and it was just laying on the floor, as if someone just like, kind of did with a blanket and just kind of just like let it chill on the floor. Now, I don't want to say it sounds like kind of more of a like a stereotype, but let's just say, living in an Asian, lifestyle kind of thing, when it comes to messes, like we don't leave. Well, I'm sorry, let me rewind that. My family wouldn't leave stuff on the floor. Okay, my dad's also military, so it's like, we don't leave stuff like just laying around. For us it was kind of like laziness. If that were to happen, so it wasn't like that. It wasn't like it was an okay thing for us to do. So when I saw that there, I'm like, okay. So I just talked to my mom. I ran over there and I was like, oh, I saw something, and of course, mom's just like, oh, okay, you just made it up, and stop seeing scary movies, or stop whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah, but it's right there. The robe is there. Like, okay, well, stop putting the robe in the middle of the floor. Like, come on, you're not listening. Like, oh my God. But obviously digress. That was that story. So, couldn't really tell you anything else. I mean, there's nothing else, to explain. I couldn't, tell you that, back in the day, ghost stories were cool and you had these EMF readers and all that. I was a kid, okay? Like, so that was it. That was my little, in a sense, ghost story, or whatever that was. Definitely, it wasn't imagination. Something did go across the floor. The robe was there. That was like my validation of something was there. Now, what I know what was inside that robe and what made it drag along, what made it pitter patter, pitter patter, pitter patter, I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. I could tell you as a kid, the hallway seemed very long. Um, Diamond's a condominium, so obviously it's not like a big, huge place or anything. But as a kid, the hallway just seemed like very, very, very long and narrow. It was like one of those things where as a kid you can kind of pretend you're Spider-Man. Put your one leg on one side of the wall and the other wall and kind of crawl up, kind of thing. It was kind of like that, but it's just, anyways. So let me go ahead and jump into the other story. The other story for me is more terrifying. Now, I know I mentioned with the other video when I was just kind of like just talking about, you know, um, having a sleep paralysis and just night terrors and just crazy dreams, and I didn't go into detail or anything, and I was saying, well, if you want to know about it, put it in the comment section, and just to see if and I didn't really want to share the story, but I felt that it was guided to. So just, I don't know, just started hearing other things about just me trying to tell the story. So I feel like I know it's kind of counter, like what I was saying earlier in my other video. I didn't want to because I don't want any kids, listening to this and all this stuff. But whatever, I was guided to at least share this experience. So, if you are young, this is just, a story from some guy, so just try not to, believe, everything. But, for everyone else, this is, an actual true story, that did happen to me. And I am going to share with you my experience regarding sleep paralysis. Now, my video or my recording is already at almost at 15 minutes, and usually around like 33 minutes or so it kind of cuts off, so I may have to like kind of combine two videos into one here, so my apologies, because I know the story is gonna be a little bit longer. Now this story, oh man, this is one thing that really freaked me the F out. So this was more terrifying to me than anything I was going to share with you on the other stories. So that's why when I was guided to do this instead of candle magic, I was like, no effing way, I don't want to share the story, but I felt like this is right. So here it goes. Okay. Okay. So just like all stories, one day, I was living in a just a normal home, I guess. Um, and it was different than the condominium. It was a different place. It was a little older. I think I was actually in junior high-ish. I was definitely young enough to stay home alone, um, but, old enough to do like other little things, but just young enough. Let's just say young enough to stay at home. So I think I would believe I was around junior high-ish, and my family was going to go to like a think a camping trip, and this is like when, like I was at that age where like, I'm too cool for this. I don't want to go camping, blah blah blah. Like, I'm too cool. I want to stay at home. And I think it was one of those I just wanted to stay at home, just to kind of stay at home. And um, but anyways, I digress. So I just wanted to share that part with you, is that they were going to be gone for a while, and that's actually important to the story. So one day, I'm sleeping, and this actually happens in the daytime. So this is not was something in like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. This happened to me. So I guess this is actually very important to tell you. Also, this was in the daytime, broad daylight. I was sleeping, right? And I don't know if I should tell you as if how the dream happened. Maybe I should tell you that. Maybe I should tell you in that format. So I was sleeping, and this is daylight. So I was took a nap, right? And I hear this, "Hey, we're home," and I was like woke up, like what? Like, no, you guys are not home. This is bullshit. I felt like just for a second, I knew I was still dreaming. Like I felt just for like a split second, I felt like I was still dreaming. But they're home. I hear this, "Oh, hey, we're home." I'm like, oh, I'm like, no, you guys can't be. Like, you guys literally just left. And if you know anything about my family, they would have been on this vacation still, even if like bad stuff happened. They'd be like, yeah, they're still finished the vacation, right? And there's no way they would have been home. Like they were gone for like literally like one day, and they were supposed to be gone for like a week. So in this dream, or when I'm waking up, I was like, that's impossible. There's no way. They're like, open your door, come on. And I'm like, and the door's locked. They're like, come on, open your door. I'm like, whoa, like what the hell is going on? What are you talking about? Like, open the door. Like, what? Like, no. And my doorknob started shaking. Now, I had a lock on my door. Yes, at a young age, I did have a lock on my door. Okay. So, regardless of what that means to you, yeah, I did. So, but in this dream, I felt like it was still a dream, and I don't know what happened. And it's like, I try to like wake up, right? Because I was like, no way, and I think I said something to them, but like my lips moved, but like I didn't like wake up from the dream. I was like stuck still, like as if I still had sleep paralysis, which I don't never had sleep paralysis in a dream. It's usually in real life. In my dreams, I always felt like I was the master of my own dream. I could literally do anything I wanted to in my dream. I was the superhero. I was the unstoppable, whatever you want to call it. I could fly, do whatever I wanted, create imagination. I was unstoppable in my dreams. So, I was like, why can't I move? Well, why? What's wrong? I can move my lips, which, so I know that's not necessarily like sleep paralysis. So I was like talking, but I couldn't move. And finally, like I broke out of it, kind of thing. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to go to the door, and that's when I heard the whole "open your door," and I was like, not gonna open my door. What is this? Open your door. Like, no. And then, so as I was about to like touch the door, like a burst of like, I don't know, like something happened, and then like I just woke up, right? I was like, whoa, fucking like weird stupid dream. Like, what is that? Like, that was so dumb. Like, oh my god, that's the stupidest dream ever. Like, what the fuck? So I'm like waking up, I'm like, ugh, this is so weird. Okay, this is so weird. And then the unthinkable happened. Hey, we're home. No fucking way. So here I am. Man, sorry, I'm glad this is a kind of all, you can't see my face right now. So yeah, they're like, we're home. Like, no, 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 this is not fucking happening. Hey, we're home. Like, you guys aren't home. And like, I'm saying this out loud, I'm like moving around. I'm like, oh no, like, you guys aren't home. Bullshit, calling you out, guys. And then I was thinking, like, I can't be fucking dreaming still. No fucking way. And open your door. No fucking way. This is not happening. I was like about to cry. I'm like, no fucking way. Open your boom, and the door just pops open. This thing, I say thing, because I don't know what the fuck it was. This thing, it reminds me of a girl, a female, and if I could give you an idea of what this looked like, if you've ever seen Pet Cemetery, the first one, like not the one that they redid or whatever, I'm sure that one was kind of scary too, but the original one, right? the original Pet Cemetery. This thing always creeps me the blank out. You know the part where the guy, or- man, the main character, or I'm sorry, the main character's wife was talking about a story to her husband about her sister who had a disease or something. And my apologies, I don't know if this is like a spina bifida thing. I don't know. And my humblest apologies. I don't know if that is, and I don't want to have anyone have a bad connotation if that's what it was called or anything. But this person had like their spine kind of twisted, and she was looked like she was malnutrition. I don't know. And this is just for the movie. I'm not saying this is what people have or anything in real life, but for the movie, this person looked like very, very, very skinny, malnutrition, like different colored skin, like very thin lips, almost looked like a skeleton, kind of with the skin like kind of like really stuck to like the face, kind of like pulled back, kind of thing, where you can see the bone, protruding from the skin, kind of thing, and very skinny. So that's the easiest way I can explain of what this looked like. I mean, it didn't look like that, but it was. That's all I can explain. It was female-esque, so you still know that this girl was female, and it was just that kind of like voice, and it was it was first I thought it was my mom, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, unless my mom had her testicles drop all of a sudden and start becoming a little deeper voice, you know, I don't know. So, but it started off with we're home, like wake up, like, well, how you know I'm sleeping, and then the whole like open your door, and I'm like, what? I mean, there was a lock on there, but I didn't feel the knob turning at the time, and then they started shaking it and like open your door. I'm like, what? And they're like, started talking in a random like sound like stereotypical old person voice like, open your door, and then open your boom. That thing was there immediately, hands out like this, hands out, grabbed my neck. I felt back like this onto the bed. This thing's on top of me, choking me. I'm like, now I don't. This can't be real. Um, from there, like I felt like as if I had to be in a dream, and I don't know how to explain that to you, but I just felt like this. Obviously, it has to be a dream. Like this can't really be real. This can't be real life right now. Like this can't be happening. This has to be a effed up dream. And it was like bam on my neck. Now I don't know what happened. Of I still felt I was dreaming. So, if I'm still dreaming, was I really choking myself? I don't know, but I couldn't move. Usually, like I said, I'm the master of my own, mind when it comes to dreams. And, so if it comes like being attacked, I can immediately think of whatever you want to think of, any superhero, any power, whatever you could think of. I would be able to do it and boom, like beat the blank out of this thing and be the superhero of my own dream, right? So for me to not able to do anything at all really scared the whatever out of me, and the fact that I was being choked and it felt like real life. Now maybe in real life, if I had cotton mouth, and maybe in real life I don't know, something, I was choking, I know I was choking in real life. And it's like I snapped out and went back into the dream. And I don't know how to explain that part, but it was if like I knew I couldn't move. I was trying to snap myself out. I was telling myself, Ray, wake up, wake up. Like I couldn't, like I don't know, like I don't know how to explain that, but I felt like I was trying to wake myself up, and I could not do that. I couldn't move. This thing was on top of me, so I felt like like an actual weight was on me, because in my head or in my dream, something was on top of me, and something was choking my neck. I couldn't breathe. I'm like, I couldn't like I couldn't breathe, right? So here I am, fucking scared. Person from Pet Cemetery, whatever you want to call it, was on top of me. And usually I wasn't spiritual back then, but I was Buddhist, so I kind of did my own chant, of what I believe in, so I'm like doing my chant, and that usually just like would snap me out. That was kind of like my one of my magic powers. Magic powers are like my go-to um, moves if I were to get scared in a dream. That was like my end all be all Thanos snap, if you will. That was like my own like thing to end all be all if I felt, if I was being defeated somehow, right? I would do that and I would snap out. Because I was trying everything else, nothing worked, and I couldn't, be strong enough to lift this person off. I couldn't do anything, nothing at all. And it was just felt like I was choking. I was immediately about to die if I didn't do this one thing. So I did my own little chant, and then woke up. Now, when I woke up, I couldn't move. I still had like my sleep paralysis-ish type of feeling where I was literally not moving. I was in my bed. Now my hands weren't on my throat, so I know I wasn't choking myself. I wasn't wearing a necklace or any, there was no, it's not like I was wearing a scarf or anything to sleep, but no, I'm just trying to give you an idea. My hair was short, so it wasn't like my hair was tangled up in my neck or anything like that. Um, and maybe I just had cotton mouth. I don't know, but nothing was physically touching me, and I was kind of just like just stuck like I don't know. Imagine myself like a torpedo. Like my hands were at my side, my feet were together, and I was just laid down, and I couldn't move, and I was like. So when I woke up or snapped out of the dream after doing my chant, I had my eyes open. So at least I didn't have to see whatever it was, but I couldn't move. I couldn't move at all. I felt like this thing was still on me, and I felt like I was still dreaming. Like only because I didn't know what a night terror was. I didn't know what sleep paralysis was. I was just a kid. I didn't know what this stuff was. I was like kind of like what the fuck. Like in my head I'm like what the f. Sorry. I'm like what the f. What the hell? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Come on, snap out of it. Snap out of it. Snap out of it. And I'm like well, why am I not moving? Why am I not moving? Like this is like what's going on? I can't move. I can't move. I can't move. I can't move. And I'm like trying to do my chant again, and then I'm like ugh, and then like I kind of just like get out of it, and I'm like. Like sitting up. So I'm like, I can finally sit up. Like, oh, I'm like, oh my god, like this is weird. This is weird. And then lo and behold, the next day, instead of like a week later, my family was like, hey, we're home. I'm like, no, this is not happening. We're not doing that. And don't worry, I'm not going back to another dream. That was it. And I was like, well, what happened? And I'm like, you guys have no idea what happened. And I try to explain to him. They're like, oh, well, nice imagination. What were you watching? And it wasn't like I had that on VHS or anything like that. I didn't have that movie or, that's just the only thing I could explain to you after the fact, being grown up watching that movie and stuff and start to know what that was. But that's all I can explain to you what that looked like. And, it freaked me out. That was probably the first real encounter of anything that's in my past that I can remember that was a night terror slash a little bit of sleep paralysis ish. Um, Feeling, because I was like, I never had sleep paralysis while in a dream. It's usually out of a dream, and then it's like I'm half in, half out. Like I still see something, and like I'm stuck, and usually like some crazy thing is like over me or doing something, or at the end of my bed, and so I don't know. So like it was like a dream. I felt it very much was real. Like I was crying. Like when I actually got out of it, snapped out of it, I was crying. Like I didn't know how. Obviously, I didn't feel like I wanted to sleep, and that was in the daytime, mind you. This wasn't like the witching hour, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Blah blah blah. Like this was in the daytime, literally in the daytime, and in my dream state, it was still in the daytime. It wasn't. The dream took place at night or in a different house. This was like in the house, same house I was in where I was sleeping, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I ate some food before I went to sleep. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what jog these things. I know sometimes people say that, if you eat, late at night and go to sleep immediately, or if like maybe if you have coffee or something, maybe sometimes that may do it because your mind kind of like, it's like it's still like activated, but then your body's tired, your eyes are tired, so you try to go to sleep and the coffee's kicking in your brain, and maybe it's making you do that shit. I don't know. Okay? I don't know what to tell you. I was a kid, so I wasn't drinking coffee or anything. Um, but yes, that was yeah, so that was something that actually haunts me to this day. I had to obviously, get over it somehow, and so I didn't watch that movie forever until probably I would say after my spiritual awakening. So like more than 20 plus to years by that time, 20 something years actually then I ended up having to watch that movie, kind of face my fears, kind of thing. Same thing with clowns, which that's not even another story I'm going to get at, but whatever. Anyways, so that was my couple stories, story time with Cosmic Ray that I wanted to share for you, and it's just my stories, that happened to me. So, whether or not you like it or you don't like it, that's fine. It's just a story, for you guys. I mean, something that did happen to me that was true, but it's just a story. So nothing that I have to try to believe into it or anything like that, or take too much into it. But it was just something that I just felt, and it was kind of odd. And I know there's other people out there that got like crazy stories and other things that happened, but that's something that happened to me. And yeah, so I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to my story. I greatly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for allowing me to be able to share my experience with you guys. This is a a crazy world that that we're living in, and for other things, to be able to have something like this in your dreams. Sometimes good things happen in your dreams, sometimes it's bad, sometimes dreams can be very prophetic, into maybe seeing things and maybe things to come, but sometimes it's just a dream. Sometimes, you obviously have to realize certain subconscious things happens where you watch a movie and it may play out in your mind, but I wasn't watching anything at the time, and I couldn't watch that movie for sure at the time, and it wasn't like DVDs are out like how it is now. Anyways, so I digress. Love you guys. Thank you, Cosmic Family, Cosmic Riders, Surfers out there. I appreciate it. Like I always say, we always try to ride these waves of obstacles, storms of difficulties, in the most challenging of times. Trying to jump over the hurdles is, part of our challenge in our daily lives. And, if the road was just flat, and just walked, yes, it'd be an easy path. But, would it really be that fun, if we couldn't enjoy those hurdles or those jumps to try to jump over or to ride like those cosmic waves I usually say out there in the cosmos. So thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it, and hopefully good dreams to you guys. And if I have any other crazy stories, I will go ahead and share that with you, my cosmic family. So thank you for welcoming me with open arms, and arigato, thank you, and namaste. Thank you. Peace.